Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to the 330 Sports Show. My name is Justin Coffin and today is Thursday, March 25th, 2021. As you can see, we are in a different setup today. We're in the Studio B location down here at Youngstown Studio. It's a beautiful studio down here. We love it. I've been wanting to do a show back here. It's just, the way it worked out. Today's been the first time I tried it out. So we're going to try it out. We're going to see how it works, and hopefully you guys like the setup. So we have phone lines open for you. You can call in anytime, 330-595-1600. You still have a chance, an opportunity. Well, first of all, we'd like you to call in and talk sports with us, but you have an opportunity to guess a 3-digit code that will unlock a lockbox. That in that lockbox contains a pair of iPod Pros. I always mess that up. iPod Pros, and also there's a crisp, brand new $100 bill in there as well. So you guessed the 3-digit code correctly, and you cannot do it by commenting. You have to actually call in for a chance to win. So you call in, we'll talk sports. You guess the 3-digit code, and you might be a winner. You might not. There's 999 opportunities, chances out there, but only one of them will unlock the box. So on today's show, we're going to talk about the NCAA and the Sweet 16 that's coming up this weekend. It's actually, normally it would start tonight on Thursday, but with the COVID and the protocols and all that, it's actually going to be on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. So that'll be a little bit of a change up, but gives everyone a little bit of time to look a little bit more into it. We'll talk about the teams. I actually reseeded them and ranked them based on the teams that are left in the bracket, and maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me. We'll see on that. And I'm going to pick the games just straight up, not against the spread. The NBA trade deadline is approaching. JaVale McGee of the Cavs was actually already traded to Denver. Other possible names to look out on the move: Andre Drummond. We're filming this right now. It's 1:12 on Thursday afternoon. The trade deadline ends at 3 o'clock. So there might be some moves made during the show. We'll keep you up to date if we hear anything. Kevin Love could be a name that we hear. Larry Nance Jr. So we'll keep you up to date if we hear any breaking news. We will also, in just a minute here, I'll show you the Elite 8 results of our Ultimate Sports movie bracket and announce the Final Four and the winners. Just a couple other pieces of news here. Last night, Jadeveon Clowney met with the Cleveland Browns. They did not sign him, but they met with him, so both sides are sort of feeling each other out, which he would be a great addition to bolster that defensive line. Not necessarily the superstar that he was coming out of South Carolina as the #1 pick about 7-8 years ago, but still a very formidable defensive player who could really bolster that line. And then the last thing I want to mention, Michigan football had a player named Nico Collins, and he was a wide receiver, not with the program anymore. I'm not sure if he's in the NFL or not, but he made some interesting comments. As we all know, Ohio State and Michigan, the rivalry has been tilted in Ohio State's favor for pretty much the last 2 decades. And Nico Collins came out, and it's just, I love these comments that these players make. Nico Collins went 0-3 against the Buckeyes, but he said, Michigan actually has the better talent. And I just love when guys do that, because it raises Harbaugh up a little bit in the sense of, well, he can go out and recruit guys, but maybe they're not necessarily coaching them up the right way. So just some interesting points there, and it's been, 3,600 plus days since Michigan has beat the Ohio State University. So interesting thoughts on that. So any of those takes that I opened up with here today, would love to hear from you. We're also going to have Rich Harlan call in to the show a little bit later. He's going to talk about a camp that he runs for high school girls that are going to most likely be playing college basketball. We'll have him talk to you about that. So Any questions, again, call in live 330-595-1600. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get into our ultimate sports movie bracket. So Joe is running things behind the scenes. He's going to show you some slides on some of these. So I'm going to first reveal the winners. So in the football region, we had our closest matchup. We actually had 110 people vote between, on each one of these movies. So again, thank you for your voting, for your support, all that stuff. So in the closest vote, Remember the Titans came out on top 56 to 54. So 56 votes to 54 votes, which translates to about 51 to 49%. So Remember the Titans moves on to the Final Four, and they were the 3 seed in the football bracket in the region. The next one, we have the other sports region. In that one, we had Happy Gilmore versus Rocky, and Rocky came out on top with that 68 votes to 42 votes. So that's about so that's about 62%. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, why the hell is Rocky the 35 seed? Again, that's based on Rotten Tomatoes scores. We had 48 movies. So we had 48 movies between baseball, football, and basketball, and then we had 48 movies in the other sports region. So 96 total movies, but the easiest way to seed those movies were to take it 1 through 48 based on Rotten Tomatoes scores. So Rocky moves on to the finals, and they will face Remember the Titans. In the baseball region, we had the number 1 seed, Major League, the only number 1 seed to make it to the Final Four. They won by a 67 to 33% margin, 74 votes to 36 votes. So Major League moves on to the finals. And then in the basketball region, I think I mixed those up. Sorry about that. It's all good. In the basketball region, that's why you can't write B-ball down for baseball or basketball. And in the basketball region, we had Hoosiers, the 2 seed, with about 69% of the vote. Hoosiers 76 votes to 34 votes over White Men Can't Jump. So just looking a little bit at these, Rockies' road to the Final Four, they had to play in 2 play-in rounds. So they had to beat Invictus, Over the Top, another Sylvester Stallone movie. They took on Caddyshack, Dodgeball, The Karate Kid, Happy Gilmore. Now they have to face Remember the Titans. So arguably the toughest road to the championship. In the basketball region, Hoosiers, their way to the Final Four, they had to take on Celtic Pride, pretty easy W there. But then they beat He Got Game, then Coach Carter, really tough matchup. White Men Can't Jump, and now they will take on the number 1 seed in the baseball region, Major League. Major League had the road to the Final Four. They took on 8 Men Out, Moneyball, A League of Their Own, Field of Dreams, and now they will take on the number 2 seed from the basketball region, Hoosiers. So, a look real quick at the Final Four matchups one more time. We have number 1 Major League going up against number 2 Hoosiers, so baseball versus basketball. And then we have Remember the Titans, the 3 seed, going up against Rocky from the sort of the miscellaneous sports region there. So I thought that was very interesting. Mostly not too big of surprises, but again, appreciate all your voting. I will put the link out there this afternoon for the rest of the voting for the Final Four, and we'll see how those results turn out. But a lot of really good stuff there. So just a couple other notes. Most of these movies, the baseball, like Major League came out in 1989. We'll talk more about that next week. Remember the Titans is actually the most recent movie that came out in the year 2000. Hoosiers came out in 1986, and Rocky came out in 1976. So, and again, the Rocky, I know it's a franchise. There's Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can even throw Creed in there. But they, we took that as a whole series, like from a global perspective. So, thought that was interesting. Again, check for the links. I'll put it on our at 330 Sports Show page. I will put that out on all of our social media platforms. So looking forward to seeing who moves on to the championship game. And something else I want to hear from you guys too. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to have our Final Four show for the movies. And then the following Thursday, we're going to have our champion. So we'll introduce we'll announce our champion. But we're also going to have sort of an award show. So from all those 96 movies, we're going to have things like top villain, top underdog, best montage, best actor, best actress, stuff like that. So think about different people you might want to nominate. You can even drop them in the comments, and we can put those on our award list and add that to a vote as well. Okay, so next we went from our ultimate sports movie bracket. I'm going to go to the legit true Sweet 16 here, and obviously now we know there's 16 teams left in this NCAA tournament. I am going to I'm going to show you these right now. And, well, I'm going to explain to you right now. What I did is I went and I ranked them 1 through 16, the teams. And these are based on, so far, how I think these teams are performing. So I'm going to actually go from 16 to 1. And then I'm going to tell you sort of my predictions and what I think is going to happen this weekend. So we're going to start with number 16. We're going to start with the UCLA Bruins. The Bruins have won 3 games already in this tournament, defeating Michigan State in the play-in game in overtime. They then moved on, defeated BYU, number 6 seed, and probably defeated the weakest team in the field in Abilene Christian. UCLA will now move on to face number 2 seed Bama, and they are 6-point underdogs in that game. Someone to look out for UCLA, a player to sort of keep tabs on, is Johnny Juzang. He's a Kentucky transfer, and he is currently averaging about 22.3 points a game. So look out for UCLA as they take on Alabama. Moving on, my 15th ranked team left in this tournament is USC. So starting out with 2 LA schools here. USC is led by former Dunk City, you might remember Florida Gulf Coast made a run as a 15 seed, moved on to the Sweet 16, Andy Enfield. So he leads the Trojans. They're playing well in March. They're actually led by a pair of brothers, Evan and Isaiah Mobley. They're playing their best basketball right now. They just blew out Kansas. I think they beat them by like 34, 35 points. And now they're going to take on a conference member, a Pac-12 foe, Oregon, in what should be a really, really great matchup. USC is actually favored by 2.5 points in that game. I think that line should be the other way. I'll explain that in a minute. The next team I have on here, number 14, is Creighton. The Blue Jays are from Omaha, Nebraska, and they're trying to fight on in the tournament. Their head coach, though, Doug McDermott, interesting note, you may remember a few weeks ago, we didn't talk about it on this show, but you might have heard it in the sports world. He was actually suspended a little bit ago for basically impersonating a slave master. It's basically telling, we're living in COVID times, and he basically told his players, do not leave the plantation, and that's not something you can really say in jest, and you can't say that at all. That's just not acceptable. So he was suspended, brought back, and they are now going to move on and they're going to face the number 1 overall seed in Gonzaga, and they are 13-point underdogs. So I look for Gonzaga to move on in that round. Villanova is my 13th ranked team left in the tournament. The Wildcats are deep into March yet again. They're, if you think March Madness, a lot of times you think Villanova. They won at the buzzer a few years back against North Carolina. Usually just have a really, really solid team year in, year out. But many people pick them to lose in the first round against Winthrop. They've had some late season injuries and some trouble down the stretch in their conference, but it's really hard to go against their coach, Jay Wright. Not only probably the best dressed coach in college basketball, but also one of the best. So their road to the Final Four so far, they've taken down number 13 seed North Texas in so far, and obviously Winthrop in the first round. So they have a gigantic task ahead of them. They're going to take on the second overall best team in the tournament, a number 1 seed in Baylor. And they are 7-point underdogs in that game. A player to look out for as well for Villanova is Jeremiah Robinson Earl. He's actually a 6'9", but they have him playing like a point forward, sort of a LeBron position. He's averaging right now 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks per game in the tournament. So keep an eye out for Jeremiah Robinson Earl. The 12th best team I have left in the tournament is Oregon State. The Beavers have already knocked off number 5 seed Tennessee and number 4 seed, and probably the best player in this tournament, which is Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham. The Pac-12 has been great in the tournament thus far. We already mentioned UCLA, USC, now Oregon State, and we'll talk about who else is left from that conference here in a minute. But they have a tough foe at hand. They're going to take on Loyola of Chicago, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's going to be an 8-12 matchup. This is Oregon State's first Sweet 16 appearance since 1982. So, pretty neat for them to make it this far. And it's going to be, I think this will be a really good matchup, this Oregon State team versus Loyola. Moving on next, we have number 11 for me, Syracuse, and Jim Boeheim squad. He gave, Jim Boeheim is known for that 2-3 zone. A lot of times it's a matchup zone. It's a very aggressive zone. It gave West Virginia fits. West Virginia fought back hard, but they were so far behind in that first half that Syracuse, was able to put them away. So Jim Boeheim's zone defense, and they're not your typical traditional 11 seed. They're a very good, well-coached team. They're playing a tough conference. And, hey guys. And the coach's that scared me. And the coach's son, Buddy Boeheim, is shooting 57% from the 3-point line, averaging 27.5 points a game. They are going to face Houston, the Houston Cougars, in the next round, and they are 6-point underdogs. So we'll talk about them in just a minute here. My 10 team is the Houston Cougars. They're coached by Kelvin Sampson, former Indiana coach. He has not committed any NCAA violations as of yet in the tournament, which he is pretty well known for. But this is probably the best thing Houston sports has going for it right now. The Houston Cougars. So far they beat Cleveland State. They just barely squeaked by Rutgers for a 3-point win. And now, again, as I said, they're going to play Syracuse. But I mentioned the Houston issues. What Deshaun Watson's going through right now. That's a whole mess down there. J.J. Watt left town. The Astros are kind of a mess. So Houston, this is probably the best thing they got going for them. The Cougars are a 6-point favorite versus Syracuse. And a couple players to look out for them are Quentin Grimes and Marcus Sasser. So look out for them. The number 9 team I have left in the Sweet 16 is Oral Roberts. They can't actually dance on campus, but they are dancing here in March in Indianapolis, and they are led by the nation's leading scorer, Max, and I'm going to probably butcher his name, but it's Amos, I believe. So he is averaging nearly 28 points a game in the tournament. And this is the 15 seed who has already upset our Buckeyes, the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes, and the number 7 seed, the Florida Gators. They now move on to take on number 3 seed Arkansas. Another player besides, they call him like midcourt max, I believe, is Kevin O'Banner. Kevin O'Banner really hurt Ohio State and really hurt Florida. He is averaging 29 points, 11 rebounds, 2.5 steals a game, and he's hit 9 threes in the first 2 games. So he is a player to really watch out for. Moving on is going to be their opponent in the next round. We're halfway through. Arkansas, the Razorbacks. This was a program that was very, very highly thought of. Nolan Richardson, way back in the early 90s, took this team to several national title games. One against Duke in particular that I remember. But they, again, were a very, very elite program. So Sweet 16, they made the Sweet 16 from 1990 to 1996, every year except for 1992, I believe. And this team is making a great run. They're more of a run-and-gun, shootout type style. The Razorbacks are 11.5-point favorites, and again, they take on Oral Roberts on, I believe it's Saturday. It's either Saturday or Sunday. My number 7 team I have left in the Sweet 16 is Loyola of Chicago. So Loyola of Chicago, probably the best known person related to them is Sister Jean. She, obviously Loyola of Chicago, more of a religious school, but she delivers a pregame prayer, and she was quoted in the last game against Illinois saying, hold them to under 30%, shooting for the 3-point arc in her speech, and I just thought that was great. So she is 101 years old, and she makes it to these games, and she's just awesome. The player, and again, they're really fun to watch, and they're a well-coached team. A player to watch out for them is Cameron Crewtwig. He's averaging 19 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and I believe he had 3 blocks versus Illinois in that game as well. So keep out for them. The Ramblers are 6.5-point favorites to win in their matchup. The number 6 team I have in my reseeding of the Sweet 16 is the Oregon Ducks. This is Dana Altman's crew. They've only played 1 game because of VCU's positive COVID tests, but they ran number 2 Iowa pretty much out of the gym in their 1 win. Oregon is 2.5-point underdogs against USC. Number 5 team I have left is the Florida State Seminoles. They are coached by one of my favorite coaches in all of college basketball, Leonard Hamilton. I think he's just a stand-up guy, class act, on and off the court. But he has the 4-seed Seminoles playing their best basketball at the right time. And this is going to be a really, really good matchup. Florida State is a 2.5-point underdog against Michigan. So we will see how that goes. The number 4 team I have left is Alabama, the Crimson Tide. They are coached by Nate Oates. So this is not Nick Saban. This is not football. I'm talking Alabama basketball. Is the 4th ranked team I have left in my Sweet 16. And this is their first Sweet 16 since 2004. Bama is a 6-point favorite, and so we'll see how they do coming up this weekend. The number 3 team I have left, and these should be no surprises, I have the Michigan Wolverines. They are the 3rd remaining 1 seed and the last hope for the Big Ten, the last remaining team left for the Big Ten in this tournament. So we'll talk about their matchup in a little bit. Number 2, we have the Baylor Bears. I kind of have a soft spot for Baylor. I was very young, but I lived in Waco, Texas for a couple years, and I just think Baylor is always kind of a cool college, cool school. But they are arguably the most talented team in the field. They had sort of a late season COVID stoppage. They were really, really highly thought of. They had a little break, and then they sort of came back and faltered a little bit, but they seem to be rolling now. And watching them, Wisconsin played a hell of a game against Baylor and still got beat up pretty good. The Baylor Bears are a 7-point favorite right now over Villanova. And finally, the number 1 team I have left is a team that's undefeated this season. No surprise to probably anybody. And they're going to be the number 1 team until they lose a game, is the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So Gonzaga is a 13-point favorite this weekend, and 3 players to watch out for. Corey Kispert, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists a game. He wears number 24. And Drew Timme, I believe is the pronunciation. He wears number 2. He's averaging 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists a game. And they have a freshman named Jalen Suggs who's sort of struggled the first 2 games, but I look for him to have a bounce-back game this weekend. So those are my rankings. So again, real quick, I have Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2, Michigan 3, Alabama 4, Florida State 5, Oregon 6, Loyola of Chicago 7, Arkansas 8, Oral Roberts 9, Houston 10, Syracuse 11, Oregon State 12, Villanova 13, Creighton 14, USC 15, and UCLA 16. So those are my reseeding rankings. Real quick, I'm just going to give you my picks and tell you what sort of I think for this weekend. Basketball is, for me, I'm not a huge gambler. I bet when I go to Vegas and all that stuff, but I don't gamble too much on apps or anything like that. But I'm going to pick these games straight up. I'll tell you the spread, but I'm going straight up, no spread, because basketball is too finicky with the late free throws or bad beats at the end. So I'm just going straight up money line bets here. So I'm going Gonzaga over Creighton. Gonzaga is a 13-point favorite. Baylor over Villanova. Baylor 7-point favorite. I like Florida State to win straight up over Michigan. They're actually getting 2.5 points. Would not surprise me if Michigan wins, but I like Florida State in that game. Alabama, I'm taking over UCLA. Alabama is a 6-point favorite. Oregon is another underdog, 2.5 points over USC. Again, I think that line should be flipped. So Oregon over USC. Loyola of Chicago over Oregon State. Loyola 6.5-point favorites. And 2 more games. Houston over Syracuse. Houston's -6. And Arkansas -11.5 over Oral Roberts. So again, money line bets to win. All right, we have a phone call. All right, so caller, are you there?
Well, hold on. This is the first call.
Oh, this is our first call in the studio. So
be gentle. All right, here we go.
All right, hello, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, it's Rich. What's up, Rich? How are you?
Not bad. I'm all right.
Good.
How's things going over there in Youngstown?
It's going well. So Rich, I asked you to call in today for several reasons. One, I wanted to get your kind of real quick synopsis on. I know you were in Dayton for the girls' state tournament, and kind of just your overall thoughts on what you saw down there. So we'll start with that.
Well, it was number one. It was great to be able to compete. Well, not me personally, but teams compete in the state semifinal and state finals again. I still personally just can't fathom any of those teams last year that made it to state and then didn't get to compete. There's still a soft spot in my heart for them, but it was a great weekend. I kind of everything that I expected to happen did. I felt like Fort Loramie and Berlin Highland were the heavy favorites in Division IV and Division III. And Fort Loramie, they did not even have an ounce of competition. They got a running clock in their semifinal game, and then the state finals they won. They beat McDonald, which is obviously a Youngstown area team, pretty easily. But Highland definitely got challenged in the semifinals by Purcell Marion. Had it down to a 2-point game with just a couple minutes left, and won by Zoe Miller off of a baseline out of bounds. Kind of gave Highland that final push to get over that hump, and then they got into the finals and just handled Iowa Glandorf pretty easily.
Okay.
Then in Division II, you had Napoleon ended up beating Vinton County in the state finals. Vinton County upset Laurel.
And that's one of those teams, Rich, that Napoleon, that's one of those teams, too, we were talking about that you had mentioned, like, that made it that last year, first time in school history, and then wasn't able to compete, and then they were able to get there again this year and win it. So pretty awesome story there.
Yeah, they, I mean, truthfully, I felt like they were going to win, from the get-go, but I wasn't as confident in that pick as some of the other ones. But, I mean, that community is just unbelievable. I mean, they sold every ticket that was available for that game, and that wasn't even there before they even went on sale.
Okay.
Somebody in Napoleon had some connections with the OHSA ticket sales because the state final tickets didn't go on sale till 9 o'clock the night before, and they were sold out by the time they even went on sale.
Okay.
For both teams, like they got their hands on every ticket in the building and they took them. So, which I was thankful for because we have an AAU kid, Taylor Strock, who should be the Division II Player of the Year in Ohio this year. And so her parents got me some tickets, which was the only way I was going to get in.
Okay.
It almost felt like back in the day when LeBron was playing in the state finals at the Shot, you couldn't get any tickets to it. Like you couldn't get any tickets to that Napoleon Benton County game, and they ended up just rolling in that game, and I think they won by 30-some.
Okay.
Made it look real easy, but yeah, they deserved that one. And then in the Division I final, man, I've been racking my brain ever since trying to figure out if I've ever seen a better game. Newark and Cincinnati Mount Notre Dame went to double overtime.
Wow.
And I mean, it was just maximum excitement. Like each team just kept making plays. To go into overtime, we're talking like steals off inbounds and that kind of stuff. Like there was no walking the ball up and somebody hit a deep shot to win. It was all Mount Notre Dame had to do at the end of regulation was get the ball in and get fouled, and Newark came up with a steal and got a bucket and tied it.
Wow.
I think it was the same way in the first overtime. Newark, all they had to do was get the ball in and get fouled, or it was that tight and they couldn't get the ball in. Mount Notre Dame gets the score, but then as soon as Mount Notre Dame scores, Newark inbounds the ball and throws a baseball pass for a layup on the other end for the tie at the buzzer. It was unbelievable. Two just absolute national powerhouses going at it. I think Newark finished number 12 in the country, and Mount Notre Dame was top 3. But then everybody's seen on Twitter, J.R. Shoemate, which, interesting story. He got thrown out of the regional semifinal game, which, as a former coach, you know that you got to serve a 2-game suspension.
Yep. I've done that once.
So yeah.
As a JV coach, by the way, at the time.
What's that?
I said I actually got thrown out of the game, thrown out of one game in my life. Let me tell you this real quick story. I had 3 technicals in 12 years of coaching, and 2 of them were in 15 seconds. And I don't even know what I did to get the second one. I think I looked at the official wrong or something. But anyway, yeah, those 2 games are not fun, especially when you're about to play for a state championship.
Yeah, JR was beside himself having to, but his assistant got him through the regional final. They won on a buzzer beater there. And then they won in the state finals, or state semifinal against Hoban. It was a tight game, but they pulled out by double digits. And you can look up in the top of the Dayton Arena, and J.R. Shoemate is literally sitting up there by himself on the very top row, mid-court. And it's him. It's dark up there, but you knew who it was.
Oh, yeah.
Then everybody kind of on Twitter seen the post-game interview with his daughter was a senior, and she's going to West Virginia, and it was pretty emotional, and it ended up being a great weekend, that's for sure. Except there was no cell phone reception down in Dayton Arena, so
Well, that's a pretty awesome recap. Ohio has, we might not be the top in the country, but we're right there in terms of, especially at the highest level of competitive basketball. So appreciate that update. Now, Rich, tell us about, you've been on the show before, but tell us about kind of your camp and I believe you just ran one this past weekend, and tell us what you have on the horizon here coming up.
Yeah, we just did the Northwest Ohio Showcase last Sunday in Toledo. We had 120 kids and 42 college coaches, and this weekend we have the Northeast Ohio event. It's more selective. It's not generally advertised in public. I did open it up this week, a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty selective, and we're gonna have we already have 30 colleges committed.
Wow!
So that we'll definitely have over 40 coaches again, probably 50. But we have coaches coming from everywhere, all over Ohio. Obviously, Ohio is really fortunate with some very good basketball and lots of it.
Yep.
We have a handful of Division Ones going, from Big Ten to Horizon to MAC to Big East. We have several very good NAIA programs. Shawnee State, Mount Vernon Nazarene just played in the Sweet 16. Rio Grande's also NAIA. And then one of the best Division III conferences in the country, the OAC, with Baldwin Wallace, Marietta, John Carroll won the championship this year. Ohio Northern has been traditionally ranked in the top 25 in the country. Mount Union, so then we have another D3 conference with Hiram and Worcester and Oberlin, and then we have literally the best Division IIs around.
Ashland.
With the GLIAC has Ashland, the GMAC has Walsh, Cedarville, Malone, Ohio Dominican. Then Notre Dame plays the Mountain East. We're Finley, Tiffin made it to the Sweet 16 in the national tournament for Division II. It's an unbelievable amount of colleges in Ohio for girls that want to play at the next level. So we're really fortunate.
Yeah, no doubt. So Rich, tell me, I don't want you to go through the whole roster, but give me a few names that might be there this weekend that college coaches should maybe take note of.
Well, I'll give you a couple kids from, I'm going to start at the bottom. We got some really nice freshman point guards that are going to be playing at the event. One of them is Ashley Mullet, who was on that state championship Highland team. She actually, in the semifinals, she hit a big three to kind of help them clinch the game in the last couple minutes. And then Emily Braden from Bloom Carroll down in Columbus.
Yep.
You best believe I will be putting those kids against each other, and we're gonna make them go at it and see what they can do. We have a really good player coming from the Dayton area, Olivia Thompson from Preble Shawnee. I've actually seen the last couple weekends, and she's an outstanding player, very high energy, gets the basket, can shoot it. She will absolutely be a scholarship kid, maybe even at the Division I level.
Okay.
We got some kids coming from Northwest Ohio. Bryn Hunt from Toledo Central Catholic. Big kid, probably about 5'10", really strong and skilled. Claudia Pipper from Buckeye Central. Another really skilled kid that's definitely going to be a scholarship kid somewhere. We got kids coming from Cleveland. Ava Haddad, post player from St. Joe's. Ellen Neitzel, a shooter from St. Joe's.
Okay.
Both of her sisters played Akron. Both those kids are scholarship kids. Another kid from Columbus, Bailey Beckstead, a point guard. That's a junior. She's already got an offer from Malone up here in Canton. She's been coming to the events for a couple of years, and she's really solid point guard. Riley Montagner up from the east side of Cleveland and Madison.
Okay.
She's already got Division II offers, so she's definitely one that the coaches are coming to see, and she actually hasn't been able to be at any other events so far this spring. So this will be her first one, so they're really excited to get her on the floor. Kate Shiver, another Columbus kid that's a shooter, that's already got Division II offers. Couple really nice point guards, one from Shelby, Sophia Neese, and then Sophia Murray from Rocky River up in Cleveland.
Okay.
Then the Baker sisters from Shelby, Olivia and Haley, they've been playing really well, and you know, all those kids that I mentioned are definitely highly sought after by coaches right now. Kristen Chmielewski from Stowe's another one. You know, that's why all the coaches come. Like everybody, there's a lot of people that try to do what I do, as far as run the events like I do, and they just can't get the results. You know, people always ask me, how do you get 50 coaches? You know, we've had no less than 50 coaches for the last 5 years.
Wow.
At the NEO event. So, you know, the answer is simple. You get talented kids, the coaches are going to come. You get coaches in the building, the talented kids are going to come.
Right.
So it's not real hard to figure out, but you know, that takes a lot of time and, you know, relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
You know, building trust with these coaches and you know, working with them on a yearly, you know, all through the year, and being honest with them. And when you're talking about kids, you're not, you know, I don't try to push any kid on a coach. Like I tell them what good is, you know, what their positives are, and I also tell them, you know, what they should be watching out for, or you know, what might be the cons, and they really appreciate that. It's not that coaches, they're not gonna find the perfect kid,
Sure.
you know, but it is nice for them to know, you know, both sides of the spectrum. So it's just a lot of relationship building and trust building for sure.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Sometimes it's just about as much fit as it is talent. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing all that knowledge. Just tell us. I know it's sort of more of a closed event, but tell us where that's taking place and when and all that stuff.
We're at the CVCA Fieldhouse, pretty new facility up there in Cuyahoga Falls on Sunday, and
Okay.
you know, we're gonna have a lot of players and a lot of coaches, and first time I've ever been in that venue, so I'm sure to work out fine, and you know, we're really only there to have kids get seen by coaches, so I'm not real picky on much else.
Okay. Well, Rich, before you go, one, I want to say thank you, you know, for calling in, taking time out of your day. Two, I'm going to have you guess a 3-digit code that you could, you know, if you guess the right number, you could win a pair of AirPod Pros and $100. So we've had a few guesses, all been incorrect so far. So give me 3 numbers.
Like 3 single-digit numbers?
Yeah,
or
3
numbers of any.
Yeah, 3 single-digit numbers.
Do I have to be in the right order?
Yes.
Oh boy. I'm gonna go with 453.
453. Incorrect. So that's hey, it was worth a shot, right? I mean, worth a shot. Yeah.
I was gonna say the odds that
it's
the
what
AirPods gonna be sitting at safe price for the next 3 years.
Well, and every week we're adding something to it. So it started with the AirPod Pros. Now there's the AirPod Pros and a $100 bill in there. Next week we'll add to that. So whoever ends up winning,
oh my goodness!
Well, it's going to be that, like, what do they call that? Like the Queen of Spades or the Jack of Hearts or whatever. So we might end up getting a whole lineup of callers coming in for that. But Rich, I just want to say thanks again.
It's gonna be tough if they don't know what's been selected and what's not. Though.
All right. Well, that's the key. They gotta watch some of the shows and you know, start Xing out some numbers. So
I'm gonna be calling in every day. Man.
hell yeah, you should. You should. Why not? And Rich, to remind people of your Twitter handle, because you do a lot of your stuff on social media on Twitter.
HOF Huddle _Rich.
HOF Huddle _Rich. So any college coaches, we do have some, I know a college coach or two that has commented on some of our stuff. So if you're watching this, you might be interested in bringing in some recruits. Talk to Rich. He's got a great eye for talent and runs literally some of the best events in all of girls high school basketball. So Rich, I want to say thanks again for calling in, and good luck this weekend, and we'll be in touch.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me, Justin.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right, so we are going to sort of close out the show here in a second, but again, wanted to thank Rich for calling in. We made our Sweet 16 picks. And in our movie bracket, again, I want to review that with you. We have, I should know this offhand, I do. It's Rocky, we have Major League, we have Remember the Titans, and we have Hoosiers. So Major League and Hoosiers are going to be squaring off, and then Remember the Titans and Rocky are going to be squaring off. I will put the links out for voting, I'd say within the next hour and a half or so. So I will tweet that out. I will share it on Facebook. I'll do all that. It'll be in a Google Doc. It literally takes 10 seconds to vote. So, share that out. Get as many people as you can to vote. And also, if you can think of any award nominees, we have 96 movies that we started off. We're going to be down to 4 here soon. So if you can think of best villain, best underdog, best movies, best song from one of these movies, think about it. Write it on the comment page, and Tuesday we'll have our Final Four show, and then next Thursday will be our final show on these sports movies, and we'll kind of have a little award show and make it fun. So with that, everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week on Tuesday. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word.